Here we are. At the ending.
So, Alaf, have you ever woken up to find your other half used your body during the night?
I don't think I understand you. And I'm not sure I want to.
Well, I've found that if I go to sleep hungry enough, I wake up covered in blood and delightfully full.
If I go sleep hungry enough, I wake up covered in blood and delightfully full. Jesus. He'll shapeshift in his sleep? And, like, Stalgar mode will go eat something? Huh. That could go bad. Make sure you eat Durance first. This is very important.
Good day to you.
Oh no, it's the only thing I could have clicked on that wouldn't give me access to what I wanted. There we go. Yeah, that's the one with all the stats. Now all I have to do is not rest and I'll keep those bonuses. Oh. I'll get like slightly into the dungeon and have to rest immediately probably. I'll be surprised if those bonuses last until Theos.
Hey.
Guys. You idiots. Okay, so... Find boat. I have to remember where the boat is. Well, it's not here. And the second area was all enclosed, so it must be in the third zone. It must be in the one that the one with the gods. Well, not the gods. The one with the gods' quests, or some of them at least. I think it's called Old Song. I think that's where the pier was. The dock. Here we are, Burial Isle. I admittedly might have been less confident in our character's survival if it wasn't for the fact that there's a sequel. Which didn't exist back then, so they might have been uncertain back then. But nowadays it's harder to be so uncertain. Cool statues. Is that the Kunari?
This place is sacred ground, so watch where you step.
Do you remember when we were children, and the missionaries came to tell us about the gods? They told us we could see them in the stars. And we snuck out one night and climbed the watchtower in the old fort because we thought we could see them better from up there. That fort burned down a few years ago when we cast the missionaries out. It was the missionaries who set fire to it. They didn't want us to be able to use it. Shame. There was history in that fort.
These are always hard to respond to because I'm trying to contextualize what they're saying about my memories that I don't have. They'll do a lot worse if they ever return. Those missionaries are all inquisitors now. Strange to think they're the same people underneath, but I suppose you would know. She looks at you. This is your home, as much as it is mine. Do you worry about it? Our being here puts Creatum at risk. I wish I could say I thought otherwise, but hearing someone else say it helps settle some things in my mind.
I miscalculated many things since this began. I'm relieved you weren't one of them. It's a good thing we didn't hang you. I always knew this path would have consequences, but I never wanted to see Courtroom suffer on my behalf. I don't think I can stay here any longer. I am told the Inquisition is gathering an army, that they have sent messengers to bargain with rulers from distant lands. Courtroom is not built to withstand a siege. If war is coming, I should be doing what Theos is doing. I will need allies. Allies in a stronghold that can resist an invading army.
You can feel the words formed long ago, rising in your throat like a toxic black bile. Have you thought about Oceanus?
Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders, and their king has no love of the Inquisition's faith. I wonder, would he listen?
Yeah.
Whole other things to try to process now. What? That was spooky how they just flew into me like that. So now we're in a whole new area. Full of enemies? Didn't think we were necessarily walking in on that, but here we are. The blocked passage. How blocked? You venture through a doorway into an underground tunnel. A staircase coils upwards, leading to a dim passage. On the upper level, light filters through the collapsed ceiling. A wall of piled stones and rubble blocks the way ahead. Pry bar? You wedge your pry bar against a large stone and put all your weight into it. Your efforts dislodge the boulder, and it rolls free with a heavy groan. Other slabs and chunks of debris begin to break away. The massive pile creaks and rumbles, threatening to loose 1,000 pounds of stone around you. As the debris tumbles down, you lunge through the narrowing gap. However, Aloth isn't fast enough and disappears behind the falling rocks. Aloth emerges from a cloud of dust, hunched over and cradling tender ribs. Light breaks into the tunnel up ahead, growing brighter as you continue. Soon the passage ends, opening up high on the cliffside of the burial isle. Is Aloth who they're gonna bully now that Sagani's not here? I kind of skipped my way up here, I guess.
Sure.
Get him. That's a lot of spooky ghosts. We'll be okay though. Got so many song bonuses to share. Yay.
Yeah.
Are we still in combat right now? Not anymore. Click on it. No, not that. Click. Inspect, you fuck. I'm clicking on it so hard. Why are you ignoring me? Oh, that's been a recurring problem. Don't really have context for why it happens. Did I just skip to the end of the zone by coming here, essentially? That seems like it's probably the hole. Okay, that's creepy how they're all just flying into me.
Another turn, Inquisitor.
Theo signals some unseen attendant standing beside a large crank.
I ask again. Eovar Exensios, do you confess to these heresies of which you stand accused?
He waits, but Eovara only stares straight ahead, her face stony, the creak of her restraints the only sound.
Do you confess to apostasy?
I confess to renouncing a mistake.
Do you confess to conspiracy against the one true faith?
I confess to opening minds.
Do you confess to false prophecy?
I confess to following a false prophet.
Indeed. And where might we find this heretic?
He wears the robes of a Grand Inquisitor.
You have no followers here, heretic. Your lies hold no sway in the court of the penitence.
Only my truth, then.
Eovara seems to look directly at you.
Another turn.
No! Wait! I'm ready. I'm ready.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Theos shakes his head and points at the Inquisitor, and the scraping grind of rusted gears echoes in your mind as the apparitions fade away. Damn. He went out like a badass. But horribly.
Holler up here. Let me know if it's safe.
Nah. Every wrinkle and boil carved into Wedeka statue looks painfully familiar. I don't know the point of a shortcut like that. I don't know. It's a weird inclusion usually. Like, one, I want to walk around and see all the other story beats that might happen from various ghosts around here. Like, I don't want to fucking skip all of it. Who's that? What player would desires that? Like, we're gonna end up walking around and exploring anyway. Spooky. I like the lack of the perspective issue here. Like, I looted this from down there when you can tell from here that it's this high up. Or maybe not. No, this seems to be a sloping wall that goes behind this that might be within range. Yeah. It's hard to tell. I think that's what they're going for, though. That's a lot of spooky ghosts. That's a lot of spooky ghosts. Spooky ghosts. Mind web. Are you all prepared for my mind web? It's a really cool idea. Like, everyone's DR is so high as a result, right? And with an Adrabon amulet. 3 might. One of you has to need that, right? Focus gain. Fortitude, reflex, will. What's your might at? You got 2 from being an Amawa. Jesus. You don't have a might item on you. That's like a huge bonus for you. 21 might. Alright, that bow's gonna get scary. Everywhere I go, ghosts show up like behind me and in every other direction. Yeah, get it. Feral Druid. Makes me curious about the level of guard that happens here. If they have feral druids roaming around. You're both set to aggressive. They just must not be able to find somebody to attack in that moment. Or maybe they only begin pathing to the next target when their next attack's ready to happen. Maybe they don't take the time to do that during the recovery phase, which is when there would be opportune to do it. Oh wait, there's a path back here. Oh. Scath Den. Standing proud and still, the Amawa before you is smiling broadly, showing several crooked and missing teeth, sporting the physique of a man in his prime. His worn and weathered face appears too old for the rest of him. He's dressed in an assortment of stitched hides and furs assembled from a motley of animals. Dangling from his belt are a series of grisly scalps, braided lengths of human, Adiran, dwarven, and Orlan hair, woven around finger bones. He sizes you up with a grin, but his gaze quickly locks with Haravius, and he tilts his head as he examines the Orlan head to toe. What do they call you, little one? You smell familiar, but your name is unknown to me.
I am Haravius, child of the Fisher Crane, adept of the Hawk and Ivy, wanderer of Eretha. Too formal?
The man ahead of you clears his throat. A feline rumble comes from his chest for a moment. His hair stands perfectly on end. Haravius. Fitting. He holds out his right hand and flexes his fingers. Long black talons sprout from under filth-encrusted fingernails. He rolls his head back and inhales deeply, sighing with a smile at some perceived scent. Needed to bring friends with you. Remain silent, but watch them both. You allow your eyes to relax until your mind is attuned to the invisible hum of souls. The Amawa projects a dizzying display of red, gold, and orange, autumn halos surrounding his massive form. When his feet touch the ground, you see a network of roots and veins that trail from his feet and sink deep into the earth. Turning to Haravius, you see glowing roots emerge from his feet, appearing as mirrored images of the tendrils radiating from Skatden. These roots of soul energy meet between the two men, and then snake deep into the earth in one twisted root. You sense that these men have distinct souls, but only one shared past. The two men are a splayed fork in an otherwise unbroken line. The two of you share the same past, though you carry distinct souls. A shared past? Skatden scratches a patch of fur on his cheek. An inelegant analogy. Who I was in my last life was diminished in my cycle of rebirth, squandered so that this runt could have life. Was he the Autumn Stalgar before he died to Haravius? Runt? Haravius' brow furrows and he clenches his fist so tightly you hear a cacophony of crackling finger joints. And it's not your soul, it's not exactly. His anger falters as he stumbles over his thoughts. Were you visited by the Autumn Stalgar? Visited, tested, forged. That would be the way to view it. Scath then looks at Haravius with a sneer. I previously thought it was a mark of distinction, but apparently even a half-height, half-man can manage the task. Takes away from the glory, does it not? Half-man? Haravius glares back, his good eye twitching and his fur standing on end. That's some real tough talk coming from a man about to choke on his own blood. What do you want with Haravius? Same as he wants from me, no doubt. Completion. He exhales slowly, eyeing Haravius as his nostrils flare. Galawain gifted us both with the stripes of a true predator. It is our purpose to erase the weak, ensuring only the strong proliferate. He mashes his fists together with a meaty thud. We must honor our god. He looks at Haravius' eye patch and shakes his head. My god. By doing the hound as the hound demands, let us determine who bears the right to be Galawain's Harbinger. Haravius, is this what you want? Haravius growls, his fur bristles, and for a moment shines with luminescent tendrils of yellow and orange. I asked to be a hunter, a regular hunter that gets invited to chase down dinner and eat its neck. I didn't ask for this. You asked Galawain for strength and you're angry you got more than you wanted? I suppose you're right. His face turns red at your comment, and he looks down at his feet. I lacked strength and I asked Galawain for help, and the lesson he taught, don't ask, take. His hand darts around about his tunic and retrieves a rusted iron hound amulet from the recesses of his pockets. I was mad at Galawain. I should have been mad at myself. I was gifted with power, great power, and I simply squandered all my energy resenting the cost of that gift. Losing contact with my tribe was the price I had to pay for demanding power. He runs his thumb across the embossed metal icon of Galawain, his nail scraping aside a decade of rust and muck. My watcher friend. His voice is low, almost rumbling. I need to settle this matter. And with that, he leaps towards Skathden. Well, so it goes. Woof. Immediately with the 100. Get you in the center, because you can AoE resist. You can give everyone crazy resistance with that. There we go. So everyone has like a mountain of damage reduction at this point, like so many defenses. The defensive mind web. What an ability. Oh yeah, oh my god, they didn't stand a chance. Haravius pants and wheezes, his one good eye locked on Skathden's corpse. Blood and sweat drip down his fur, and he rocks back and forth on the balls of his feet, as though expecting the body to stand back up. How do you feel?
Excellent! I endured Galawain's trial, and vanquished my equal. The only thing I regret now are the years I wasted viewing this whole thing as a curse. The ostracism was, no doubt, just another way of Galawain forcing me to be stronger.
Examine the corpse. As your eyes relax and your vision adjusts to the hum of the invisible, you see a swirling pile of red, orange, and yellow leaves. The cyclone of foliage flies apart, and the leaves drift off into parts unknown. As Skathden's essence fades from view, you see a handful of autumn leaves circle around Haravius as his soul glows a bolder shade of orange. Are we done here?
Almost. We thank thee, Galawain, for guiding our hunt. For today we grow strong off the flesh of the weaker. I think we're done here. Before the vultures get to him, figured I should take a reminder.
He walks over to Scotden's corpse and places his hand on the dead man's mouth and tugs with all his might. Tendons and cartilage rip and tear with wet, grisly eruptions of blood until at last the mandible is torn free. Jesus Christ. He ripped his jaw off? Fuck. Distressing. Two-handed poleaxe. Good for executing prone people. Trader's merit. Well, shit. We found what we came here to go for, aside from the obvious main thing. I seem to have taken a rather undue role in essentially commanding Heravius of which god to worship. I think that's... it kind of became clear afterwards that's kind of what I was doing. It's a strange... Oop. It's one of those things where it's just a little strange in universe. I don't know. That I have that kind of influence. It just feels odd to me. But I think that is what the outcome was. I kind of poked both ways throughout the series of interactions, but I think I may have ultimately had him side with Galawain, while influencing him in one direction or the other was never really my particular intention. A great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Wedeka. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, but even so, you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. A wind from the pit buffets you. It isn't cold, but it raises goose flesh along your arms. The wind carries a whisper, low and sibilant. As you look into the pit, souls gather around you. They encase you in a cloud of essence that swirls around your body while you consider your next move. Yep. You jump, trusting in the promises of the gods and the power of the souls that bear you safely down. The sudden drop takes your breath away, but the souls catch you, encasing you in a shining, thrumming aura. But while they slow your descent, you can still feel that you are falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you is strong, but chaotic. You find yourself drifting towards the wall. Nearby, Kana drifts downward at a rapid pace, carried by another glowing stream of souls. Ah! Why did I ever agree to this? Kana flails outwards briefly, then steadies, holding his arms out for balance. It is hard to keep. Yaskir, look out! The wall! Take control of the souls to guide yourself to safety with your amazing resolve skill. Concentrating, you focus on the essence around you and knit it together in your mind. What was a jumble of souls becomes a single entity, coordinated and purposeful. It steers you to safety at the center of the pit. You manage to spread your arms and legs into an X, steadying your position and the rate of your descent. You start to feel more comfortable until you notice that Aloth is still falling too fast. Aloth plummets, flailing and out of control. You could attempt a rescue, but the ground is approaching fast. It will take a feat of speed and agility to avoid injury. Command the souls holding your companion with my incredible resolve stat. Your soul reaches towards the turbulent essence surrounding Aloth. Through the incredible force of your will, you are able to organize and bolster the lost souls, enough to slow your companion's fall. Aloth reaches the bottom with a gentle thump. You reach the court of penitence, millennia-old stones, safely under your feet. Your party is considered high level for Act 4. We can increase the difficulty. I'm already in high level mode. High level? Standard would be a problem. Wouldn't they all be like level 8 or something? Like, I'm in the expansions version of high level, not even just the normal game's version of high level. Chanters do more than just chant! Exclamation point. Oh, I noticed.
After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
We're all gonna die in a hole.
Well, that went better than I expected.
Yeah.
Who's talking? I think that statue of Wetica was watching us soil ourselves on the way down.
Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me, then.
That was bracing.
This place is cursed.
Yeah. All those things.
Yeah.
And more. Just wait till we have in store. Ow. Alright, who has the mechanic skill? 11. So you. Yeah. Rude. Ah! Alright, well...
Your thoughts must flow deeply indeed.
Let's try here.
Right.
Run! Shoot. We're doing alright. Things are alright. A millennium's worth of dust fills the cracks and crevices of the skeletal relief. Whose dust? I'm just thinking, like, generally speaking, dust comes from hair and skin of humans and other living creatures. It doesn't really come from, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking on my ass, probably. But I've always heard that it's supposed to be from humans. So I wouldn't expect an abandoned place to necessarily be, like, dusty. More stale? There's a hole upstairs, though, so any amounts of, like, soil or whatever could be getting blown into this hole perpetually, I guess. Throwing them balls. Oh, yeah. See, she's blinding people. Good skill to buy. Blinding skill. The ancient Adra still bears the impression of the 1,000 souls broken upon it. Your soul burns with remembered suffering. This is a lot of loot. That I arguably don't have any use for, but it's there. Uh-oh. No! My health bar. Daybreak Morning Star. Two-handed. 25% chance to kill spirits on hit or crit. Maybe a good Palagina item if I ever got out of here again, which I probably won't. She's got her own sword that does the same thing. No, that's vessels, not spirits. Perhaps, why are you so mean to me? Ah! As I said it. Yeah, these things are gonna really stand a chance against me. There's something funny about a Spectre's health status being listed as near death. Like, yeah, I know. It's a spirit.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh.
The party has maintained a good amount of health so far, except for the horrible, horrible trap problem.
Right.
That was bad for me. That one crossbow you can find here and there totally looks like the toy crossbow from Prey, and that bothers me. The pillar tugs at your essence. A pulse from the world itself moves through it. Whoa. A lot of chain lightning right there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. A lot of layered chanting going on there.
I shall do as you ask. What you ask is done.
Ed, there, you open it. Of course it's safe. Why wouldn't it be? Chests are known for their safety and not attacking me, obviously. A column of Adra rises above you, stoic and silent. Its ridged layers, a measuring stick for the passing of ages. It feels to you as a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim, flickering flame, all but extinguished, yet preserved against the ravages of the elements. As you approach, the flame seems to steady and draw strength, and the layers separating it from you melt away. You are bathed in a glow, a bright beacon in the gloom. Her face is scarred now, from burns and other things, the torture. I don't think that was there before. The glow seems to fade, as though you had adjusted to its intensity, and where it was, Eovar seeps into existence, an idyllic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now, a slight stoop to her carriage, perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There was a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy, where flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
Hello, brother. It has truly been ages. You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
It would seem that I have unfinished business here.
I'd hoped after our last discussion you would find what you sought. Has it eluded you all this time? I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
Theos diverted them from the cycle. He seeks to empower Whitaker, and to blame Animancy for the damage he's caused.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There's something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from that life, of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
And what was that? Eovara's mouth tightens and her brow furrows, a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
Huh. I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief. She's not serious.
Nonsense! Clearly she has not been on the receiving end of a god's ire. She'd know how real the gods can be.
There's a theory puts my boldest to shame. But we ourselves have seen the gods' influence.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
Who created these gods? And for what?
They were conceived by Engwith, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos's people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Engwithans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators. Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, they found an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found. Or if there ever were, they were gone. It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent missionaries to the corners of the world to spread their faith.
This is why you started your own faith?
I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine.
How did you discover this?
The Engwithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them. And in the end, They allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything was there, just as they said it'd be.
Later on, after I left the Order, a few Ngwithans found my words persuasive and joined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. Is it true, what you taught?
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
Eovar scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, lingering on each member of your company in turn, finding interest in things unseen.
What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
She looks to Eder.
That's not... That can't be right. Aethys, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Her eyes settle on Aloth.
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. If all our common threads are spun from a lie, what's left to bind us together?
She looks up at Kana Rua.
For thousands of years, the Ngwithan lie clouded our sight. How can we claim there is no other way when we never had the opportunity to discover one? There are answers out there still, in places we've never thought to look.
What if neither guide knew the way? How then would you choose a course?
She regards Heravius, and his ears twitch as her eyes fall upon him.
Well, I suppose I would always choose that which makes me stronger. But instead of doing it because Galawain wishes it, I do it merely because I wish it for my own life. Oh, Galawain, know that your humble servant was speaking rhetorically.
What if the cycle of birth and death is nothing more than a tool of endless preoccupation?
She faces the grieving mother directly, seeming to see her as she does everyone else. The grieving mother returns Eovara's gaze, nodding her head almost imperceptibly. For a moment, all is silent. Eovara nods back, seemingly moved by some unspoken understanding. You feel the weight of Eovara's translucent eyes upon your soul. What if we can be assured of nothing? Then the only value is the things we create ourselves.
And in the lives we create, is this not the essence of motherhood? To create, cherish, nurture, to give of yourself for the sake of another.
There is bliss to be found in the things we create, but sorrow as well. Every creation bears the imperfections of its creator, and its creator's creator. Art and song are creations, but so are weapons and lies. We must be careful that our creations do not consume us. I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple. But somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
Just taking a moment to parse what she's saying. We do. Even without assurances, there is still truth.
If that is truly what you believe, then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. But there is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know. Until I understand.
For the first time, hints of doubt trace her serene visage.
I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
As she asks, the memory springs to your mind immediately as though it had just happened. It's rough, because it's like a weird second stage, weird like reverse roleplay thing. There's essentially no happy, or no, not even a consistent thing to say about your character, because it was a different character entirely. A version, this is what multiple characters in my party talk about, is this idea of like, a past that they can't reconcile with themselves. Well, mainly Maneha and other people like that, where you have this awakened history that was a different person who did things you wouldn't do, or at least you think you wouldn't do. You have to live with that memory. And she just awoke with that memory in me. The memory of betraying my sister. So let's go true believer. Your teachings were a threat to all I believed in.
I never wanted that. I had hoped that what I taught would replace your beliefs with something that made you stronger. For many it did. But not all, it seems.
She shakes her head slowly, absently, in search of an answer that never comes. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. Did my opinion matter so much to you?
I've always looked up to you, since we were children. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
You're not going to be able to convince everyone of anything, true or not. There will always be dissent.
I expected dissent, but I needed to know that true faith would prevail. Perhaps I've been wrong to place so much importance on one person's actions. It was all I could do to feel like there was an answer. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know. Nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
I see the world differently now than I once did. I regret what I did to you, and wish for your forgiveness.
I have always forgiven you. Whatever your reason, no quarrel of ideas can sever ties of blood and essence. No parting of ways can erase memories of times without worry. Times when even without gods, we were never truly alone. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish, but now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs. Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
Are you bound here until the end of time?
In a matter of speaking. This is Braeth Yamen, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Whitaker is eternal. They linger above, at the site of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle. This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition, but time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. Yet, I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then.
The other gods aid me because they want Theos destroyed. I owe them no debt.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Why don't you repent? You could be free of this place.
Last time someone asked me that, I was bound to an iron wheel with a broken spine. There are many things I've come to doubt about the choices I made in life, but that trial was my one moment of certainty, even without a chorus of gods to tell me I had been right. The gods need to be reminded that we have a spirit, and that spirit is proof against their power. They have the power to manipulate and confuse and ruin us, but not to change our will. I will remain here until the world crumbles and fades from existence, with joy in my heart, knowing I've shown them what they truly are.
This place. Sun and shadow. What is it? I could tell you what I believe, but again, it would be no proof. I have only what I have seen, and what others have told me about it. There is only one man who can tell you now, who knows it to a certainty. You shall face him soon enough. I will leave you to see it for yourself. Make your own judgments. Better for your soul that way, I think. How is it you speak Adiran? I speak no language now but the wordless expressions of the spirit. It is through my connection to you I am able to draw upon your words and form them as my own. Do you know what it is I need from Theos?
I could not say for sure, but you have been to Sun and Shadow before, and it came at a crossroads in your life, when much of what you knew had been upended. I have to believe it will come to you there. Your concerns then were of loyalty and trust and the gods. Everything I told you seemed to send you further into doubt. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. After you and I spoke, you went immediately to seek him out. Perhaps you simply sought confirmation from the man you trusted. If something from that time still troubles you, it may be something he told you then, or refused to tell you. He keeps secrets better than any in this world.
Why has Theos done all of this?
He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might discover it, no matter their chances. That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. When her power waxes, she does as she pleases with this realm, as well as hers. And she wants that secret guarded as much as he. If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods. Woodica was vanquished once when the other gods decided she had gone too far and her power diminished. With this infusion, there is no telling what she will do. The only certainty is that there will be chaos in their realm, as well as ours.
How can I get Theos to tell me what I need to know?
You will not find a more resolute being on all of Eovar. There is no offer you could make, nor spell you could cast, nor pain you could inflict that would make him reveal what he hides. But I see you have become a watcher in this life. Perhaps in defeat, when he can no longer defend himself, you might learn something from him.
So ultimately, I just have to kill him, and then see if I can rip the truth from his spirit. It's time for me to go.
Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
The irony of a game talking about urgency when we... It's probably 30 or 40 hours ago was when we hit the point in the story where it was time for me to actually deal with him. But there's just all the side content. How it goes. It's the same urgency I had to learn how to avoid from day one. Because when I played this game like 4 years ago, getting caught up in the urgency of the main narrative is what led to the situation where I was getting crushed by over-leveled nightmare monsters because I was accidentally transitioning acts and all that. Then I will waste no more time. Farewell, Eovar.
It is a cruel fate to wait all this time to be reunited with my only brother, only to be forced to part soon after. But then, what is life but a series of brief encounters with those we love? If ever we should meet again, in this life or any other, I hope to find you at peace.
I hope to find Theos in pieces.